Alright, today we will go over a press release from ONL that was issued on the 11th here of April, and we will go over some of the highlights, what to look after, and some ways that information can be bundled. Before we get right into that, shout out here to AVH in the Discord for noticing the press release here, commenting about it, wanting a quick opinion regarding it. I think that press releases is one of the best sources for stock information. So companies, they will use services such as, for example, in this case, Business Wire, but there are a few other services as well that provide press releases for companies where they can get their information out. And this is becoming more important now than it has ever been in the past to get clear and concise information regarding company performance, because a lot of these new AI sources, they just write some mumbo jumbo. They write, for example, I've seen one where they just look at stocks with 2 billion in market cap or more, and you go over the stocks and you see that some of them are way below 2 billion. So they just have this hallucination and make stuff up regarding the companies that they are supposed to analyze, to get more clicks, to get more view time, and accurate information can be found in press releases because by law they can't give false information to investors. Of course, it could be an Enron case, but that's a risk that we need to take. So get into the Discord as well, and when you find good information like that you want a comment regarding, don't hesitate to share that in the Discord. Back to the press release. We saw some comments regarding leasing, so properties, finding vacant properties, finding a new tenant is perhaps what immediately comes to mind. However, in this case, ONL is bundling together lease renewals with re-tenanting a vacant property. And why would they do something like that? Why not separate them? Well, companies, they tend to just do a whole bunch of information to cover something up, and then all of a sudden they stick something bad in there and then continue with all the good information. That could be one of the things. Another scenario is that they're not super versed in communication with investors. I lean more towards that. We've seen some bad comments on earnings calls, especially when they cut dividend. Of course, talking about how that capital is one of the cheapest sources, but not communicated in a proper way, and with only one analyst covering the call, then that information is not going to be widely spread for sure, especially for a small cap stock like this. So they bundled that together. And one other thing that they did in the press release that's important to keep in notice is when they talk about sale of vacant properties. They talk about, of course, selling some of the empty properties where they've not had a tenant for some time, but also they talk about the pipeline that they have for property sales in 2025. And this is a deal that's not finalized yet. It could fall through, it could not materialize. That's always a risk in a situation like that. However, I think that as investors we can take note of this. All right, they have a strategy, they're re-tenanting, they're selling, and they have irons in the fire, so to say. Something is actually happening, and that's good. A sale means lower total area to rent out, and that means that vacancy will be reduced. The same for if they re-tenant a vacant property, then this means that, all right, the rented part increases, vacancy decreases. So good news all around. We will learn more on the earnings call upcoming, I'm sure of that. So until then, we just have to stick and be patient. that's been it for this video, and as always, hope you guys make a ton of money, whatever investments you decide to make. Take care now, bye bye.